Ready? Would you please tell us your name?
Jimmy Klaevemann.
And Mr. Klaevemann, what do you do for a living?
I'm retired.
And on May 24th, 2022, what did you do for a living?
I was employed by Uvalde CISD, and I was the electronics technician / security coordinator.
Would you tell us what an electronics technician / security coordinator is?
So what my job was to maintain the vast majority of low voltage electronics, anywhere from building automation controls, fire alarm systems, intercoms, and the security camera systems. And the / security coordinator part of that was also administrate the security systems and both security alarm systems and security surveillance systems.
Okay. Now, I think I want to drill down on the security video systems. What's the word or term you use for that, the videos?
That's going to be referring to the internal security surveillance system.
Surveillance, okay. And so, are you familiar with surveillance cameras that were at Robb School?
Yes, sir.
Could you tell us what your familiarity is with those cameras and the placement of those cameras?
So my familiarity involves the type of system that it was at the time, and that was a on-premises based network video recording system, and there were only 4 security cameras directly attached to that system.
Could you tell us why there are 4 security cameras attached to that system?
So that was a campus that previously had not had any security cameras before in the past. We had a number of campuses that had not ever had any security cameras, so that campus, among a few others, were campuses that were approved for a security, safety and security grant. It wasn't a real big one, but enough to get some cameras, a system in place to get it started, and then potentially in the future add more.
So a grant authorized the expenditure of funds on security cameras?
Yes, sir.
But that was a limited grant?
Very limited.
So did you use your own expertise, or did you seek expertise from others as to the placement of those security cameras?
So originally, there was another gentleman that was working on that project, kind of outside of my knowledge, and once that was secured, as far as what campus we're going to get what, and even after it had been determined where the cameras were going to be placed, it was then later dumped in my lap. Like, okay, hey, we spent this money, this is being installed at these locations. We need you to now finish up getting, people set up where they can, log in, principals, district police officers. So it kind of was dumped out on me at the very end.
You were the implementer,
in a manner of speaking.
but not the decision maker as to where the cameras went.
That is correct.
By that I mean you put the cameras where you were told to put the cameras.
Well, I didn't even install them. There was another company that was involved in that. If my memory serves me correctly, I believe that vendor name was Century Security. They were the ones that proposed what would be the best location for 4 360-degree fisheye IP cameras.
And
so,
tell us what a 360-degree fisheye camera is.
So that is a specialized camera that is designed to be ceiling mounted. It looks straight down, but it has a very wide view that is capable of seeing 360 degrees full time. And they call it a fisheye because when you see that camera in its native raw format, it looks like you're looking through a fisheye. That's why they call it a 360 fisheye.
So you can see to the left, the right, forward, and even behind.
Yes, sir.
And so it looks kind of distorted on the edges, is that correct?
Yes, yes, sir.
That's the nature of the system that was purchased.
Yes, sir.
And is the camera system video only, or did it also capture audio?
That particular system also included audio on those 4 cameras.
And could you tell us the difference between a constant feed camera and an event feed camera?
So an event feed camera would be if you configure the software and everything accordingly, what would happen in that situation, it would require detection of motion or either a trip line event. You can create virtual trip lines, or in some cases you can even say, well, I want this to record if it recognizes what looks like a human being. That would also be event-based. The downside of that type of system is that it requires the system to recognize one of those types of events to record, and then it's a predetermined amount of time of how long it will record versus a, what was the other that you said?
Event camera and a constant feed camera.
So versus a constant feed is continuous recording, 365, 7 days a week, 24 hours a day. The advantage of that is if something very subtle happens and you need to go back and replay it, you have a better chance of recovering or seeing that event versus maybe it was missed because the system didn't recognize a certain event.
Okay.
But the downside of that is you only have so much space. You can only maintain so many days of recording before the hard drives fill out.
So you have to access it. If something important happens, you need to get to it fairly quickly.
Yes, sir.
But that was not a problem in this case, is that correct?
That is correct.
And finally, we've all seen those camera systems where there's somebody sitting in front of the monitors monitoring the cameras 24/7. Was that going on May 24th, 2022?
So normally, we had not reached a point in safety and security where we had a designated team that's just all they do. Not like what we have now. When I became aware that something was happening, I pulled it up.
Okay.
My thought process was maybe I might see someone that they're looking for, but I see them on the camera and I could potentially report it.
Okay. And I'll get to that day in just a minute. I just wanted to finish that up. But so I guess you had cameras throughout the school district?
Yes, sir.
But not one person or number of people was surveilling all of those cameras for all of those campuses?
Correct.
Fair?
Yes, sir.
It was more designed to capture events and go back and retrieve it?
Yes, sir. That's correct.
And as to the timing on the camera, was the timing in that camera accurate as to actual time, or real time, I think is a word that's been used?
We had determined that there was a 7-minute and 10-second offset, so there was a need for the real time to be displayed so that it would correct that factor.
So there was 7 minutes difference between what the camera is telling you the time is and what the actual or the real time was?
Yes, sir.
May I approach you?
Yes, sir.
And we had marked this as State's Exhibit A. We previously showed it to the defense. May I approach the witness with defense?
Yeah, there's been no objection. We have no objection to the demonstration.
Okay, you may approach. It's admitted for demonstrative purposes.
Thank you. Looking at State's Exhibit A, do you see Robb School down in the, guess which way you're facing? I'll have to call that the right, lower right-hand area.
I see Robb School right here.
Okay. And is this the 4th grade wing then to Robb School? Or are you familiar with what grade?
I've never been able to keep track of wings and grades.
That's fair enough. Could you say, you told us that there were actually 4 cameras in place
Yes, sir.
on this day? And are those 4 cameras marked on this State's Exhibit A? In the red numerals?
Yes, sir, I do see 4 cameras, yes. And that does look correct.
So, Exhibit 2, is that inside a building? That camera is inside the building?
Yes, I was at an intersecting hallway.
And
Ceiling.
Exhibit 1, is it also inside a building?
My memory is not clear on that one. I
Okay.
do not remember.
Either just inside or outside?
May have been just right outside, may have been inside, I'm
Okay.
not clear on that
And
one.
number 4, is it in a breezeway?
Yes, sir, it is. Mounted directly under the canopy.
Under a canopy?
There's a walkway canopy that runs all the way down here. So there was one mounted, I believe that is correct there and there.
Okay. And so underneath the canopy, that's open air, but it has a roof to keep the rain off people if they're using that, is that correct?
Yes, sir.
So we have cameras 1, 2, 3, 4. We have an event at the south end of Robb Elementary. Were there any cameras there?
No, sir.
Okay, and that's not by design, that's just where they ended up?
Just how it ended up.
Thank you. And now I'll take just a moment. I know this is very unpleasant, so I'm going to go quickly. Fair enough? On May 24th, were you tending to business around 11:30 hour?
I had initially, at the start of my day, I had called in sick. And then later, as the day progressed, I started feeling better and decided to go ahead and put in half a day. And I decided before I would return to work that I would take care of a personal matter, get a vehicle inspected and then go to work.
And did anything interrupt that?
Yes, sir.
Would you tell us what that was?
I remember I had made it to the inspection station on the west side of town, past the police department. And initially, I met and had to yield right away to several emergency vehicles departing from the police department, and my first initial thought was maybe another bailout. We had been having a lot of those at the time. So I continued on to the inspection station, and once I arrived there, I And one of my radios that I usually would carry to work with me, I had with me, but I had not turned it on yet. And I still kept hearing all the sirens, and just, this is just way more than another bailout. So I turned my radio on subsequent to that, and then I realized that we had a serious problem.
And just to shorten this, from there, did you go to your office and watch the events as they unfolded on Channel 2 of Robb Elementary?
Yes, sir, I did.
And were the cameras working appropriately at that time,
Yes, sir.
recording the events?
Yes, sir.
And was that video recovered by law enforcement?
Yes, sir, it was.
When was that?
It was fairly quickly after the breach, and everything had been neutral, towards the end of it. Then they started calling for certain district personnel to arrive to the campus. That was Kenneth Miller was one of the ones requested to respond directly to the campus. And then fairly quickly after law enforcement met with him, they inquired from him who is the point of contact for the video surveillance systems for the school district. He informed them that was me, so they immediately requested my presence. So I had to make the location. They kept me at the FBI, one of their incident command vehicles. And then a little while later, they met with me and then asked me all the technical details of the system. And then immediately afterwards, came back to my office located on North Getty, which is just right adjacent to the central office. And they oversaw the whole process.
By process, what are you saying?
Of transferring through the network to their provided storage media. So straight off the network video recorder directly into their storage media, which that process took till about 3 in the morning to complete and verify the integrity of it.
And you transferred the actual video, the accuracy of which you observed that day to law enforcement without making any changes in it?
Yes, sir.
Or being transferred?
Judge, we don't have any objection to these videos, we'll stipulate to their admissibility.
We'll pass the witness then.
All right, that's,
Okay, do we have a number?
I was gonna offer it after they were through, but we can do it now. I would say Office Exhibits 14 and 15, Exhibit 14 being the hallway video, Exhibit 15 being Channel 4.
Okay, they've indicated they have no objections, so they'll be admitted.
Mr. Klaevemann, my name's Jason Goss. I just want to say sorry that you and everybody in Uvalde went through this, and families, everybody. And so I appreciate that you got the video, and you did what you had to do to document the evidence and what that monster did to those kids. That's the witness.
No further questions?
Is he excused?
Yes, Your Honor.